All right, well, we're getting near finished product. This is MasterSeries Silver, or their rust sealer, preventative, etc. Now this stuff, from what I've read and seen, is the best of your rust preventative paints. Top 415. If you search around on YouTube, you can find a video where a dude did a salt bath test with a bunch of different stuff, and this stuff outperforms pretty much everything. It is quite amazing. Now, it's kind of like 415 with the like 3-step process. You have this etch rust remover stuff you have to spray on or brush on or whatever, soak in. Now this stuff is by far the strongest I've used out of all the remover stuff. I used 415s, I've used Ospo, I've used a couple other etch stuff, used Eastwood stuff. This stuff, like the pitting and stuff that was on this thing, this whole axle was just silver before I coated this pretty much. Like, it cleaned everything. And I didn't soak it on here, but for a few hours I just sprayed it down, went inside, got on the computer for a while, came back out, sprayed it down one more time, let it sit for about 5-10 minutes. And the way this stuff works, unlike with the 415, is you spray it on and then you wipe it, similar to Piclics, and it leaves a preventative coating on it so you can actually keep it stored like that for a while. I had also done this gas tank in it, and obviously it's working because none of it's rusted anymore. Now, I didn't coat this all that long, and I didn't finish removing all the primer stuff off of this. So you still see all these black spots. That's actually primer stuff that didn't quite get eaten off. It doesn't eat that away quite that fast. But I ran out of it. I tried to coat the gas tank. You can see where I got the lip where it oversprayed there and stopped. So I didn't get to finish that. And the reason being is because I let this stuff sit for a year, maybe 2, and it has a shelf life. And it was past shelf life. So I hope what was liquid that I sprayed does not cause me any issues. Now this stuff it's cured to the touch within like an hour, if that. And it works similar to Eastwood's silver stuff, their new rust encapsulator silver, or platinum, whatever it is, to where it cures faster with moisture. So down south here in Mississippi on the Gulf Coast, it's humid as hell, and this shit's set up probably within 30 minutes. But you have to thin it pretty good, and they don't actually suggest thinning it because it makes it weaker, but you can only thin it with their stuff, supposedly, and you can only thin it up to 10%. But you spray this stuff on there, and you can see how it looks like it has a hammered finish. It's just the way the silver stuff mixed in. See if I can rotate this without it hitting anything. But it coated pretty well. I think I got almost everything. Some of these little tight areas I probably didn't coat all that well. But it's coated enough. I'll be able to tell when I spray it black what's missed, hopefully. So you don't have to top coat this stuff. They tell you to coat 2 coats of this primer stuff, which I did. And then you spray it with this, it's a 2-part. This AG111 Superior Top Coat. And between the two, and that's part A and B mix, and I don't know if you can hear, it's not all, actually these might be okay. This one I think is kind of solid at the bottom. Maybe, I don't know. Kind of sketched to tip it over upside down. I guess the heat pressurizes these cans. That first can, the lid like shot off. I had my hand over it luckily. When I hit it with a screwdriver, it just pah! But you can see my puddle here. My epoxy black down there, my SPI epoxy, had a misfortune. It pressurized, and when I went to shake it, I went to tip it over and just like tap it on the ground to get all the dust and stuff off the lid before I popped it open. And I'm talking just like set it over, set it down, picked it up, and the lid just stayed on the ground. So it was pressurized too, I guess, and just popped that lid right off. But anyways, so I've got 415 stuff left over. I'm gonna have to end up doing my gas tank in it. Originally I thought about doing the MasterSeries on the gas tank, but after thinking it over, I decided to go ahead and do my axle in this stuff since it's supposed to be the top top dog coating. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the axle on that, and I do the gas tank in this. And I'm spraying it all with these Bobo Harbor Freight guns that are Eastwood knockoffs, and they spray fairly well. Also discovered a cool little trick off another YouTube video if anyone's interested. If you get these, no, these come with these shitty cups. These little plastic deals. You'll have to get the Eastwood starting line guns or something that the neck disassembles. So that's the disassembled piece. It's got an Allen key in the top and then the hex right here. And this is reverse thread. Don't do like me and almost strip the damn threads out. So what you do is, I don't know if you can see, but there's an O-ring there. So you separate that. You take you a Ziploc bag, like these little quart doohickeys. Fold it over in half like so. And then when it makes a corner, you nip off just a tip, itty bitty. And then you shove the thread part of this through, with your O-ring on the inside, and thread it back together, pinching the cup. And you now have an inexpensive, easily disposable DE cup system that I wish I would have discovered before I actually bought the DE cup system. But nonetheless, I have both now. Yep. This thing's ready to roll on black tomorrow. I don't want to spray it today, I don't think. The shelf life, or not shelf life, the recoat period on this shit is like 7 days, they said. So another thing said 48 hours, but I figured I should be plenty fine with a day. So I really don't feel like cleaning the paint gun again. And I want to make sure that this gas is off enough. I'm pretty sure it's good now, but I want to make sure it's good before I go and spray another coat on there. I'm probably going to do 2 thick coats of the black, so I can hopefully try to fill in some of these monstrous pit voids and all this shit from my terrible weld job. Anyways, so on to the other news. Oh, that's schmexy, huh? Got these mounted up. Now I did look up the torque things on the torque spec on this, and I found a whole bunch of different info. So if anyone else has a Mustang 2 car, feel free to let me know what they did as far as this hub nut inside of here. The going standard from what I've seen is torque to like 15 to 20 foot-pounds to seat the bearing while rotating it. Then loosen it until it you're supposed to loosen until it free spins with the tire. So I didn't do that. I just loosened it until I could free spin it, and it kept spinning a little bit, which is not going to now because of the brakes. But as long as I could keep turning about another rotation or two, I was happy. Put the pin in there, left it good. That should be good and dandy for me. I'll probably check it again with the tire on just to be sure, but having these brake pads in here is going to add some resistance. Now these little nuts on the back had me sketch. Wilwood's torque spec on these suckers is 28 foot-pounds. They didn't seem like they were ever gonna click that torque wrench, and I just was paranoid I was about to strip this nut out. I don't think the stud would strip, but that nut I'm not positive on. I think it's just like not a nitrided, but a zinc coated nut, just like these here. I think these are all zinc coated. Anyways, these are mounted up. These are my fancy CNC lug nuts. Quite nice. Just put them on there to protect the threads. And I have bags that I'm going to cover all that shit with to keep it dust free and paint spatter free for while I'm painting that rear end. Here's the other one. They have some hella meaty veins on these things. But same deal. You have to shim the back of these. They have a spacer and then little washer shims you have to use. You have to get it to where it's flush with the rotor and the brake pad. And I have 2 shims in here, and that puts it level with it. Now this sucker back here is tight. I don't know if you can see, but that tolerance there is hella tight. There's barely any gap there, to the point of where I might come back and put a shim in it. I don't know. It's real sketch. But anyways, that's it. I'm not gonna run this anymore. Sorry it's taking me so long to get this uploaded, but I still gotta go in and, well, but when you're watching this, obviously it won't, but I had to cut all these videos together, or pull them off my phone, splice them together, and I didn't do any fancy editing, but I won't be doing too many more of these where I have to compile videos. It just takes too long and too much effort. It's so much easier just to drag the video over to YouTube and hit upload. So that'll be tomorrow's work. Paint that, maybe paint this. I don't know. I don't know if I feel like running. I guess I'll have to clean the gun one good time. So I'll have to actually pour 15 this first because it takes a while to flash between coats. I think you gotta wait like 4 hours between coats. So I'll have to paint this as soon as I get home. Then swap over to that, spray that with the MasterSeries, come back at the end of the day and spray this with the 415 top coat. All right, that's the plan. See y'all later.